Hello and welcome to another update on MP Materials. So it's a chart that's moving very quickly. I only covered it recently here for everybody in public on the 1st of July. That was before the major breakout down here somewhere as we were moving in the support area. I think it's done a 3 or 4x since, 3x or something since then. Unfortunately, wasn't watched that much that video. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, just feel free to check out my stocks videos here as well, because they are they are here to give you setups as well, right? It's not only about gold and silver. But it's one that I cover regularly in our membership, in our advanced and professional membership. It gets requested quite a lot by members. So what I want to do is I want to take a look at the structures and see if anything needs updating, because I want to do that with you together. So the idea was obviously on this chart that we were looking for a 1-2 1-2 setup. Well, that played out nicely, and now we had a extreme rally in potentially an impulsive structure. And I have to say the extensions start to look a little bit more like a diagonal structure. So we want to talk about that a little bit. But important is that support held. Yeah, these support areas held here. And the price did not break below that 25.94 level. That would have kind of made the bullish outlook a little bit less favorable. So let's remove all that. The roadmaps played out nicely. We even did overshoot my targets. So let's say the next targets, because overall this still points towards higher prices. But it's important to understand what could be playing out now. Now, in the most bullish scenario, or let's call it most directly bullish scenario that we're looking at here, well, we're tracking a potential C wave to the upside, obviously in 5 waves. And the idea was to get to $61, right? The 100% extension. That's an ideal target for the C wave. But then if we look at the microstructures, that can still grind higher. But most of that rally should be done or should soon be done. So if we just place the labels where they should be, then you will see that there are probably a few more waves to go. But this is not the time anymore to enter, probably. This is more for those who watched the last video and found it interesting, maybe acted, used the setup. Because the problem is now that we've rallied already into resistance. So probably the main element of that third wave, it might be done. Now, I'm not saying we're done yet because there's no sign of a top. But obviously, the question is always about reward and risk. Now, I have to say, the proportions of this move, while this is all still valid as an impulse, hold on, let me double check that the third wave must not be the shortest here internally. Didn't measure properly, but it might actually be the shortest. So that means that it's not valid as an impulse anymore, and then we will have to go with the idea of, no, it's not the shortest. Okay, so that could be valid still. That's one scenario I'm tracking here. Basically, that we could be in this, in the late stages of circle wave 3. Wave 5 is simply extending. It's reached resistance, strong resistance, I'd argue, in this area. So we need to understand now what is support for the fourth wave in an impulse. And then from there, it might give us one more high in wave 5 in white, circle wave 5. And overall, I think this chart could get towards $94 to $122 before a substantial top is attempted. In terms of Fibonacci support, circle wave 4 pullback, 34.22 to 47.16 would be an ideal support zone. And then from there, we could see the price grind a little higher. Like this, yeah. But for now, this is the risk. I'm not telling you that the pullback is starting at this point, but it might start from here. We have definitely enough waves in place to consider this move to the upside complete. But the proportions are a little off. So I'm proposing a slightly different scenario, which is, I think, absolutely reasonable, given that this move up could also just be, part of a diagonal structure potentially. Yeah. So if it's a diagonal structure, then the idea would be that this move up, and it, the count is kind of, the count would be kind of similar, 1, 2, but I could say that, yeah, it would be kind of similar, yellow. The wave degrees would be different though. Yeah, because this would be a, no, hold on. Just checking that. Yeah, so you would have A, B, C probably in wave 1. So the wave 1 finished here, not in December 24, but rather in April. Then you have a wave 2, and then this is an ABC structure to the upside. A, B, C. And then this is a fourth wave pullback, which would then be allowed to go a little lower. So I'm going to add the 61.8 fib level to the chart. So anything below the $34 level is rather a diagonal structure, not an impulse. And there could be some structural support in the area where we had previous support. So that is around $29. Yeah. So there is some structural support and Fibonacci support, but ideally, from an impulsive point of view, also in the interest of more upside, in the white scenario, ideally in any pullback, we don't break below $34.22. So we've now reached strong resistance. This is the support area. While directly higher prices are of course possible, I'm watching for signals that now a pullback has started. While after in the last update, we were looking for an upside reversal, we're now rather looking for a pullback. That's the update for MP. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in additional updates on stocks, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and many other stocks and asset classes like gold, silver, check out our stocks membership. You can find the link in the description. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.